This happened a week ago. I had just settled into my new 2-bedroom house on a quiet cul-de-sac. The idea was to enjoy some solitude and let my creativity flow. I didn't know then how wrong I was. The second night, I was in bed. It was late when I heard a soft tapping noise against my bedroom window. I figured it was a branch or something, but it kept happening. It felt too rhythmic, almost deliberate. I froze, listening. I wish I hadn't. As the week went on, more odd things happened. One night, I noticed lights flickering in the house next door. It was past midnight, and I thought nobody lived there. A chill crept up my spine. I wasn't sure if I was imagining things, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Then came the laughter. I swear I could hear it echoing through the walls. Where was it coming from? There were no kids around, just me. My heart raced every time I heard it. I glanced outside, waiting to see someone, but it was always empty. My palms got sweaty. I started to doubt my own senses. At one point, I thought about asking my neighbors if they heard anything unusual. It felt silly to complain about laughter, but the feeling of being watched kept me up at night. It was so unsettling. The final straw came just a few days later. I was working late, trying to push through. The tapping returned, louder this time. I stood up, my legs shaky. I pulled the curtains aside, half expecting to see someone standing there. But there was just darkness. My face heated with embarrassment for being so frightened. Then it happened again. Was it laughter? My breath caught in my throat. It sounded like it was right inside my house. I tried to convince myself it was the old pipes or something, but it didn't sound that way. The unease grew. I glanced at my phone. The clock glowed an unsettling 3:33 a.m. That can't be good, I thought. I turned back to the window and saw him. A man, standing across the street, just looking at me. I couldn't see his face, only a dark silhouette. "Are you okay?" I called out. No answer. My stomach dropped. An icy dread washed over me. Then, as sudden as he appeared, he turned and vanished into the darkness. I spent that night wide awake, checking the windows and feeling my heart race. The tapping and laughter never stopped, and I couldn't find a way to make sense of them. Now, as I sit here recounting this, I can't shake the feeling that something is out there. I wonder if I'll ever find out what happened. Maybe I should have stayed in the city. Maybe solitude was never really what I wanted. The next day, I tried to brush it all off. I needed to be rational. Maybe it was just my imagination running wild. I decided to get out of the house, clear my head, and distract myself. So I went for a walk around the neighborhood. As I strolled past the neighboring houses, I noticed a for sale sign in the yard of the one next door, the one with the flickering lights. My heartbeat quickened. So someone had lived there after all, or maybe they had recently moved out. I had to know. I approached the sign and squinted at the small print. The agent's name was there along with a phone number. As if drawn by some unseen force, I pulled out my phone and saved the number. If I could talk to the agent, maybe I'd find out more. I continued my walk, but unease gnawed at me. I glanced at the house a few times, expecting to see someone staring back at me. But the windows remained dark, no sign of life, just silence. That evening, I sat on my couch, determined to push through my writer's block. I pulled out my notebook, but every attempt at writing ended in frustration. Instead, I kept hearing that laughter. It echoed in my mind, mixing with my own anxious thoughts. I finally decided to call the number I had saved. The phone rang, and a cheerful voice answered. I introduced myself, and before I could ask about the house, the agent cut in. "Are you interested in buying? It's a lovely place, lots of character," she said. I hesitated. "Not really. I just wanted to know about the previous owners. Did they move out recently?" The agent's tone shifted slightly. "Yes, they moved out last month. A lovely couple, but they had some issues with the neighborhood."
"Like what?" I asked, my pulse quickening. "There were some strange occurrences. A few neighbors reported odd noises at night, laughter, tapping, but I wouldn't worry about it. It's a good area." Her casual dismissal unsettled me. Did they ever see anyone? Not really, just sounds. I thanked her and hung up, my mind whirling. I thought about the tapping, the laughter, the man watching from across the street. My heart sank. What if I wasn't the first? That night, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched again. I locked the door and pulled the curtains tight, but I could still hear it. The laughter grew louder. I felt it pressing in on me, thumping against the walls. Then I heard a soft, deliberate tapping on my window. I froze again, unable to move. This time it felt too close, too familiar. How long had this been going on? I edged toward the window, my breath hitching in my throat. I was about to pull back the curtain when I heard a voice, low and gravelly. "Let me in." My stomach dropped. I stumbled back, the room spinning. I knew I faced a choice, but my instinct screamed at me to run. The tapping continued, persistent and maddening. I had to do something, but
What? My heart pounded as I strived for courage. I took a deep breath and reached for the curtain, ready to confront whatever waited outside. Then, everything went dark. I jolted awake, gasping. Darkness wrapped around me like a heavy blanket. I fumbled for the light switch, my hands trembling. When the room lit up, I realized I was still in my living room. The tapping had stopped, but my heart raced from the chaos in my mind. I glanced at the clock. It was past midnight. Had I fallen asleep? The fear dripped back into my veins, and I shook my head, trying to clear the fog of confusion. I mustered the courage to look at the window, half expecting to see someone there. Nothing. Just an empty darkness that felt oppressive. I debated whether to close the curtains. What if I was being watched again? I took a deep breath and approached the window. I pulled the curtain aside, peering out into the stillness. The neighbor's house loomed next door, its windows dark. The street was lifeless, but I noticed something odd, a flash of movement in the shadows of the yard. I squinted, trying to make out what it was. My heartbeat quickened again. I couldn't shake the feeling that I should call out, but I didn't want to provoke whatever was out there. Fear crept around the edges of my thoughts. Then, a sudden rustling sound drew my attention. Something shifted in the bushes next to the empty house. I stepped back, a chill rolling down my spine. I couldn't call the police. They wouldn't believe me. What would I even say? As I pondered this, my phone buzzed on the couch. I jumped, nearly knocking over a lamp. It was a text message, but the number was unfamiliar. My hands shook as I read it. "Don't ignore the laughter." I felt a shiver run through me. Who was this? I wanted to respond, asking what they meant, but my fingers hovered over the screen. Instead, I quickly deleted the message, my heart pounding louder than ever. That's when I remembered the information I had collected from the agent. I needed to dig deeper. I grabbed my notebook and started scribbling questions, things I needed to know. What had really happened with the previous owners? Was the man from across the street involved? Suddenly, my phone buzzed again. Another message. I cautiously opened it. "Look in the attic." My breath caught in my throat. I didn't want to think about the attic. It was dark and cramped. My imagination went wild with thoughts of what could be up there. But I knew I couldn't ignore it. I stood up, that same gnawing unease resurfacing. I glanced toward the attic door at the end of the hallway. Fear and curiosity battled within me. Maybe this was the answer I needed. The laughter, the tapping, the feeling of being watched. I made my way to the hallway, my feet moving against every instinct that told me to turn back. Gripping the attic door handle, I hesitated. Then, steeling myself, I pulled it open. The staircase creaked as I climbed, every step echoing the unrelenting pulse of my heart. I reached the top, the darkness pressing against me. I could hear the distinct vibrations of laughter in my mind, intensifying as I took a breath and stepped into the attic. Something shifted behind me. My stomach dropped. Someone was in the house. I turned slowly, my heart racing as I looked into the darkness behind me. The air felt thicker, suffocating. I squinted, hoping to discern any form, but the shadows kept their secrets. Every rational thought screamed at me to run, but I forced myself to stay still. "Hello?" I finally managed to whisper, my voice cracking. The attic held a strange heaviness, almost as if it was alive, pressing against my chest. Nothing. No response, only the ever-present echo of that disconcerting laughter in my mind. My instincts told me to escape, but I couldn't just abandon whatever answer lay hidden above. I took a cautious step forward, my eyes scanning the cluttered space, filled with boxes and old furniture. I desperately sought anything that could provide some clue about what was going on. Was there a hidden passage, a secret? As I moved, a floorboard creaked beneath my feet, the only sound in the silent expanse. I breathed deeply, reminding myself to focus. My gaze landed on a dusty old trunk in the corner. It seemed oddly out of place among the usual attic detritus. I approached it, heart pounding. The laughter faded slightly as I reached out to touch the latch. Just as I was about to open it, I heard a soft thud behind me. My heart stopped. I spun around, hands shaking, but saw nothing. The chilling sensation of being watched returned, crawling over my skin. I faced the trunk again, forcing myself to breathe. As I lifted the latch, a chill ran down my spine. The trunk creaked open, unveiling a jumble of old clothes, a faded photograph, and a small, rusted toy. I picked up the photograph first. It showed a family, their smiles bright against the backdrop of this very house. Suddenly, the laughter grew louder in my mind, almost mocking me. I searched their faces for something, anything that might connect them to my current nightmare. Then I noticed something unsettling. One of the children in the photo was wearing a red shirt, just like the one I had seen on the shadowy figure in my yard earlier. My hands trembled as I quickly tucked the photograph back into the trunk. The laughter was relentless now. I needed to leave the attic. I turned to rush for the stairs, but froze. There, just beyond the threshold, stood a figure, a dark silhouette watching me intently. The faint outline of a face formed, distorted by the shadows, but unmistakably there. "Who are you?" I stammered, backing away slowly. The figure didn't answer. Instead, it took a step toward me. The air thickened again, and I felt a pulse of dread radiate through my body. I turned on my heel and bolted down the stairs, my thoughts a frantic blur. I could hear my own breath echoing back at me, mixed with that eerie laughter that now sounded undeniably close. I raced into the living room, the memory of the figure seared into my mind. Had it been real, or had I finally lost my grip on sanity? I stumbled to the front door, my hands fumbling with the lock. Just as I got it open, my phone buzzed again. I hesitated, the weight of fear crashing down on me. "Keep laughing," the new message read. I couldn't stay here. I stepped outside, determined to escape this nightmare. But the street was still, a chilling reminder that whatever I had stirred in that attic hadn't let me go just yet. Chapter 2: The Shadow's Embrace. A chill swept over me as I stepped outside, the night air biting at my skin. The street lay empty, quiet, but I felt the weight of something watching. I forced myself to breathe, reminding myself that I needed answers. I couldn't let fear control me. My car sat a short distance away, its familiar shape an anchor in the darkness. I took a step toward it when I heard a soft rustle from the bushes nearby. I froze, heart pounding again.
"Hello?" I called out, my voice wavering. Silence. Then the sound came again, a low, shuffling noise, almost like footsteps. I tried to convince myself it was just the wind, but instinct told me otherwise. I glanced back at the house, the attic's window standing like a dark sentinel. The laughter echoed again in my mind, an unsettling reminder that whatever I faced was not just a product of my imagination. I wanted to run and never look back, but I had to find out more. I decided to check the bushes. Cautiously I approached, each step heavy with dread. I reached out to part the leaves. Then I saw it, a small red ball lying innocently among the shadows. My breath caught. The same shade of red as the shirt in the photograph. I picked it up, feeling its weight in my hands. It seemed so out of place, a piece of forgotten childhood. As I held it, a shiver ran down my spine. What had that figure wanted? Was it a message or a warning? I glanced around. The street remained as silent as before, but unease crept in again. Then the laughter returned, louder than before, like a sinister melody resonating through the air. I dropped the ball, heart racing, and stumbled back, frantically looking for any sign of movement. That's when I saw something flicker in the corner of my eye, the attic window. A figure stood there, watching me from the dark. My heart dropped. The outline was clearer.
Now, just as I had seen before. It was definitely the same shape. I ran to my car, the keys shaking in my pocket. I desperately punched the button to unlock the doors, my eyes glued to the window. Moments later, I was inside, slamming the door shut. The laughter echoed in my mind, a twisted symphony of chaos. I started the engine but hesitated. Part of me wanted to flee, but another part felt drawn back to the house. I had to know what it wanted. With a deep breath, I turned off the ignition and stepped back outside. As I approached the front door, I noticed something sticking out from under the welcome mat. I knelt down, my heart pounding as I reached for it. It was a key, a rusty, old key. Could it possibly open the attic? Something in me was tingling with a mix of fear and curiosity. Before I could think it through, a wall of cold air surged past me, and the shadow vanished from the window. Panic surged. I had to act fast. I raced back to the front door, the key clutched tightly in my hand. Just as I turned the knob, a sudden crash echoed from within the house, shaking the very foundation. I froze. Someone, or something, was inside. Chapter 3: The Crashing Silence. I pushed the front door open, my heart racing. The air inside felt thick, as if it were charged with static. I stepped inside, holding the rusty key like a lifeline. The crash had come from deeper within the house, a sound that echoed in my ears, urging me to flee. But curiosity pulled at me, impossible to ignore. The hall was dimly lit, with shadows dancing along the walls. I couldn't tell if it was the flickering bulb above or something more sinister at play. "Hello?" I called out again, adding a note of firmness to my shaky voice. Nothing answered, just that thick silence wrapping around me. I took a cautious step forward. The floor creaked under my weight as I moved toward the sound. It was coming from the kitchen. I held my breath, the old key pressing hard against my palm. A part of me expected to see someone standing there, but when I reached the door, I found it ajar, swinging slightly as if inviting me in. Pushing it open, I peered inside. The kitchen was empty, except for a few scattered dishes and an overturned chair. My gaze landed on the back door, wide open, and the wind swirled through the space, lifting the drapes like ghostly fingers. Why was the door open? I stepped in, the cold air nipping at my neck. My instincts screamed at me to turn back, to close the door. And yet, still,
I held the key. I scanned the room. The crash had left a mess, but no sign of whoever or whatever had been there. I stepped to the side, my eyes darting around for movement. That's
when I spotted it, the red ball, the one I had dropped outside, now lying in the middle of the floor. The sight sent shocks of confusion coursing through me. How had it gotten here? I reached for it, hoping it might give me some kind of answer. The moment I grasped it, the laughter returned, chilling and sharp. I dropped the ball again, and it rolled toward the corner, stopping at a baseboard. Before I could piece together what was happening, the lights flickered. I turned, and in the dim light, I saw something dart past the doorway. My pulse quickened. I wasn't alone. I bolted into the living room, every muscle inside me ready to run. There, I noticed something else. The attic door, which had been firmly shut when I arrived, was slightly open now, a crack inviting me to look inside. I didn't want to go up there, but the noise had come from the attic. Taking a deep breath, I approached the stairs, but as I stepped closer, another crash sounded behind me, this time from the dining room. My heart sank. I quickly glanced back, and to my horror, I saw the shadowy figure in the corner, just standing, staring right at me. I should have run, but something held me there, a morbid curiosity gripping my feet to the floor. A whisper floated through the air, as if the very walls were alive with secrets waiting to be told. "Help me," it seemed to say. Was it a cry for help or a trap? My instinct screamed at me to escape, but part of me needed to know. I took a shaky step forward, the decision made. I had to confront whatever waited in the shadows, whether it was a ghost, a memory, or something altogether different. I climbed up the stairs toward the attic, feeling the key in my grip. Something awaited me there, something that would either answer my questions or plunge me deeper into the darkness. Chapter 4: Whispers from Above. As I reached the attic door, a gust of wind rushed past me, causing the hairs on my arms to stand on end. I hesitated, the key trembling in my hand. The laughter echoed again, louder this time, mingling with a low, mournful wail that seemed to seep from the cracks in the old wood. It was as if the house itself was alive, breathing heavily with secrets. Taking a deep breath, I pushed the door open. The attic was dark, shadows wrapping around the scattered boxes and old furniture. A single grimy window let in faint light, illuminating dust motes that danced like tiny ghosts. As I stepped inside, the floor groaned beneath me. I scanned the small space, looking for any sign of life or whatever had caused the crash. My eyes landed on an old rocking chair in the corner, gently swaying, as if someone had just gotten up. The rocking stopped, and a chill ran down my spine. I could feel the weight of eyes on my back. I turned slowly, but nothing was there. Just boxes piled high and a few trinkets long forgotten. I had to keep moving. The urge to run fought with my desire for answers. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed from behind me, making me jump. I whipped around to see a box tipped over, its contents spilling out. A collection of faded photographs. I knelt down to examine them, the flash of faces staring up at me, ghostly and familiar. Some looked like relatives I barely knew, but one captured my attention. A woman in a white dress, her eyes dark and pleading. Before I could think, I reached for the photo, but as I touched it, the attic door slammed shut with a finality that sent my heart racing. I was alone, trapped. I scrambled to my feet, panic rising in my chest. "Let me out!" I shouted, my voice trembling against the silence. I rattled the door handle, but it wouldn't budge. I was about to scream again when I heard it, the whispering stronger now. "Help me," it beckoned, the voice clearer, more urgent. I turned back towards the direction of the rocking chair. The air grew thick with anticipation. Every instinct told me to flee, but I couldn't shake the feeling that whatever was happening was somehow connected to the photo. I moved closer, drawn by an invisible thread. The rocking began again, slow and rhythmic. I halted, my breath caught in my throat. That's when I saw it. The small door at the far end of the attic cracked slightly open, just enough to promise whatever lay beyond. The whispers intensified, drowning out my thoughts, filling me with dread and intrigue. Before I could consider the implications, another crash echoed, this time louder than all the others. It shook the very walls, and a strange feeling of urgency washed over me. I had to know what was going on, had to confront the presence lurking in the shadows. As I stepped toward the door, the whispers morphed into a chorus. "Find me," they cried, as the small door creaked open wider, inviting me into the unknown. A new wave of fear surged through me, but I couldn't turn back now. My fingers traced the wood of the door, heart pounding, and I pushed it open just enough to see inside. The sudden silence that followed pressed in around me, thick and heavy. I took a step forward, ready to uncover whatever lay hidden in the darkness. But then it hit me like a brick wall. I turned sharply, my heart racing. I knew I wasn't alone anymore. Chapter 5: The Presence. My breath caught in my throat as I swung around, heart pounding nearly out of my chest. The attic felt overwhelmingly still, but I could sense it. Something lurked just beyond my vision. I squinted into the shadows, searching for any movement. Then I heard it. Again, a soft rustle, barely audible but distinct. It came from the direction of the rocking chair. I took a cautious step, my feet barely making a sound. Each crunch of the floorboards felt loud in the oppressive silence. The rocking had stopped, but the air felt charged, like the calm before a storm. I moved closer, drawn to the chair that now stood still. The faded fabric looked worn and frayed, yet somehow it felt alive, as if it held the essence of those who had existed in this house long ago. My eyes darted to the small door again. It beckoned me with its tempting darkness. Suddenly, I heard a soft whispering breath right beside me, and I spun around again. My heart felt like it might burst. There, standing almost directly behind me, was a figure, a translucent shape, unclear and flickering like an old film reel. It was a woman in a flowing white dress, her features ethereal yet twisted in anguish. "Help me," she murmured again, her voice painfully close but echoing from somewhere distant. I stood frozen, not knowing whether to run or to stay. "Who are you?" I finally managed to choke out. The words felt useless in the heavy air. The figure gestured toward the small door, then faded slightly, as if a gust of wind had pulled her away. "Find me," she whispered again, her voice trailing off into silence. I felt frozen, not knowing whether to run or to stay. "Who are you?" I finally managed to choke out. The words felt useless in the heavy air. The figure gestured toward the small door, then faded slightly, as if a gust of wind had pulled her away. "Find me," she whispered again, her voice trailing off into silence. I felt a mixture of fear and an inexplicable urge to assist her. Compelled by something I couldn't quite grasp, I took a step towards the door. In that moment, everything shifted. The air seemed to thrum with energy, and with a desperate lurch, I flung the door wide open. Inside, the darkness yawned before me, revealing a narrow staircase leading down into a dim abyss. I hesitated, glancing back at the attic. The woman in white was not there anymore, but her plea hung heavily in my mind. I could either go deeper or retreat to safety, but my curiosity overpowered my fear.
I stepped down, one cautious step after another. The wooden stairs creaked under my weight, and as I descended, I felt the temperature drop significantly. At the bottom, I found a small room, the walls lined with shelves piled high with dusty books and more photographs. My eyes landed on a large mirror against the far wall. I walked over, and as I approached, I realized it wasn't just a mirror. It was a portrait of the woman from the attic, framed and forlorn. Then a realization struck me. Those dark, pleading eyes were the same as the ones in the photograph I had seen earlier. I had to get out, but as I turned back, the door I had entered through slammed shut, sending a shiver of panic coursing through me. I was trapped again, in a room filled with whispers and echoes of a past that seemed determined to claim me. Suddenly, something moved in the corner of
My eye. It wasn't just the woman in white. There were figures behind me, emerging from the shadows, watching. My heart raced as the whispers grew louder, merging into a chaotic symphony of voices urging me forward. I was no longer just a witness. I was part of this haunting narrative, and I had to find a way to escape before the past consumed me entirely. Chapter 6. The Shadows. I backed away from the mirror, my pulse pounding in my ears. The figures behind me loomed closer, their shapes indistinct, yet somehow solid in the darkness. I felt a wave of desperation wash over me. I had to escape this room, but the sheer number of voices made it hard to think. "Find me," one voice whispered louder than the rest. It was the same voice from the attic. I turned slowly, scanning the wavering forms. They hesitated, then flickered like candle flames, their intentions unclear. The spot where I had come in, the door, was sealed tight. There had to be another way out. My eyes frantically searched the cramped space. The shelves were littered with old books, journals, and countless photographs. Maybe something would help me understand this place. I stepped closer to a shelf, drawn to a tattered journal. Its leather cover was cracked and gold lettering barely decipherable. Elena's memories. I yanked it free and flipped it open. The pages were filled with hurried script and drawings, visions of a life filled with joy, then darkness. I squinted to read the faded ink as it chronicled events I could barely fathom. "Trapped," one entry read. "They won't let me go." Below it, the scribbled date caught my eye. It was dated almost a century ago. I felt chills race down my spine. Suddenly, I heard a loud thud from the other side of the room. I jumped, heart racing. No, no. I looked around wildly, and that's when I noticed the shape of the woman in the white dress again. She stood at the far edge, her face twisted in a mixture of sorrow and rage. "Leave this place," she warned, her voice echoing through the stagnant air. I could see the figures moving behind her, a tangled crowd of despair. "Why?" I shouted, my voice breaking. "What do you want from me?" "He must leave," one of the shadows hissed. "You cannot save her." My confusion grew deeper. Save her? I didn't even know who she was or how I was supposed to help. But as I stared into the woman's eyes, something shifted. They were no longer just pleading. They were clearer now. A connection sparked between us, and I felt a pull, an understanding. I shook my head, stepping back, far from the crowd. I needed to breathe. The journal fell from my hands, and I glanced around the room. The flickering shadows seemed to intensify, creeping along the walls as if eager for my decision. Then, in the midst of the chaos, a faint glow emerged from the corner of the room. A soft, light-filled space caught my eye, almost hidden behind a stack of old boxes. My instincts kicked in. There it was, the escape I needed. I felt the urgency swell inside me. Forget the past. Whatever it was, I couldn't be consumed by it. I darted toward the glow, determination propelling me forward. But just as I reached it, the ground trembled beneath my feet, and the shapes around me surged, blocking my path.
"No!" I shouted, reaching the edge of some unseen barrier. The shadows closed in, voices blending into a cacophony of anger and despair. The air thickened, pressing down on me like a vice. That's when everything started to swirl. The room twisted, and I felt myself being pulled back into their darkness. And as the shadows tightened their grip, I realized I wasn't just trapped physically. I was at the brink of being lost forever. Chapter 7: Threads of Escape. Just when I thought all hope was gone, clarity struck. In the maelstrom of shadows, one singular thought emerged. I refuse to be a part of this. I gathered all my resolve, anchoring my mind against the confusion swirling around me. If they wanted something from me, they'd have to fight harder. With every ounce of strength, I pushed against the oppressive darkness. "I'm not afraid of you," I shouted, surprising even myself. The words felt electric, reverberating through the room. The cacophony of whispers faltered, the shadows hesitating as if startled by my defiance. Seizing the moment, I turned toward the faint glow in the corner, knowing it might be my only escape. I lunged for it, bursting through the barrier created by the shadows. The moment I reached the glow, I felt a current surge through me, a warmth that resonated with life and hope. That warmth wrapped around me, a shield against the grasping tendrils of the shadows. I didn't stop to question what lay ahead. I stepped through the light. In that instant, I was enveloped, the world around me spinning, reshaping itself into something indefinable. Then, with a sharp intake of breath, I tumbled out into the attic, landing hard on the wooden floor. I blinked against the sudden brightness, which illuminated the dusty space. The silence that followed felt surreal, weighing heavily. I was alone. The attic door hung open, and glancing back, I found no lingering shadows or whispers. It felt surreal, almost too easy. I scrambled to my feet, heart still pounding in my chest. The laughter was gone, replaced now by a deafening quiet that felt unnaturally still. Had I really escaped? I wanted to believe it, but something tugged at my lingering sense of unease. I rushed towards the attic door, adrenaline coursing through my veins. I needed to get out of this house before it changed its mind. With every hurried step, echoes of that woman's voice lingered in the back of my mind, urging me to remember her, to help her somehow.
I descended the stairs rapidly, throwing open the back door and stepping out into the cool night air. I inhaled deeply, letting it fill my lungs. Relief washed over me, a bittersweet comfort against the trauma I had experienced. As I made my way to my car, a flicker of light caught my eye. I turned to see the neighbor's house, its dark windows now gleaming with an odd radiant glow. A chill feathered down my spine. Was it the same flickering light, or had it changed as some manifestation of the events I had just gone through? I fumbled for my keys as apprehension knotted in my stomach. Against my better judgment, I glanced back at the house. I didn't know if I ought to be afraid or curious, but what I knew was that I had felt something there, a tug at the edges of my consciousness. So many questions lingered like the shadows I had just escaped. As I got into my car and started the engine, I couldn't shake the weight of the woman's final, desperate gaze from my memory. Who had she been? What had I left behind? Pulling away from the curb, I felt a sense of longing and dread intermingling. The night stretched before me as I drove into the dark, a part of me forever changed by the encounter. I chose to move on, yet my thoughts spiraled back to the glimpses of the past I could never fully understand. And in that quiet moment, I realized that the story of that house wasn't over. No matter how far I drove, its threads, and perhaps that laughter, would always be pulled toward me. I moved to a different city after that. Sometimes I wonder if my neighbor is still there, if those things still happen. I imagine those old shadows whispering their secrets among the attic rafters, waiting for the next curious soul to listen. But mostly, I try not to think about it.